I don't even know if it's going to work. Hey guys, half the time, I have to be honest, I have the time now and I haven't been going on much. The reason I haven't been going on is on YouTube here is for a couple reasons. One, that I'm obviously having internet problems because every time I try to go live, it just gets insane and my YouTube goes down. The other thing that's going on, hey Dot, the other thing that's going on is that with Chris Watts showing up again. And I think that's hey, Leisha, it's very disturbing. And I think that I'm very affected by it. And I think it's getting more information. Hey, Jen. Getting more information about the whole Chris Watts thing is very disturbing. And I'm noticing that people are just getting really insane behind it. And I need to say this because if I don't, I'm not being honest to everybody. And Dot just said he's the bad penny that never goes away. Bad rash. And the thing about all this is that we are all kind of in this holding pattern. And it's an interesting time to talk about this because, and I made my talk about when things are challenging or things go bad, just keep going, and I feel like in a way I had put the Chris Watts thing to bed, and I've been dealing with my own challenges. And many of you know, I've not been secretive about it, but really working on, the idea of our, the idea of having ADHD. And it's really funny. I have to, because a friend of mine said to me today, because she has it and I didn't know. And she's like, yeah, I've got that too. And I said, what was my acronym? I gave her an acronym for it. I have to grab my glasses. But, I was talking about having this and I was just like, it's just the most insane thing because what happens is as you start working with it, especially the knowledge of ADHD, is you recognize on another side how fearless you are in some ways. And she said, yeah, Tori, you're kind of superhuman. And I wrote, ADHD equals another daring human dynamo. I think that's it is about being, indomitable, really unstoppable. Bill, good to see you. And I'll do a shout out to some people in a minute, but I do want to mention this thing about Chris Watts, not because I want to really give him any life, but because this is going to sound terrible, but I kind of want to bury him. I really feel I'm very angry that when I saw one of the letters, and just so you know, I am going to be the book is coming. So I don't know when I'm going to get it, but I am going to read it and I am going to share it with you all because it makes me angry that somebody is putting out a book of his letters. It's like it, and I don't know why it does. It just does, and I feel like it's really unsettling. We're living in a very crazy time where people are getting vicious if you don't agree with them, and there is a holding pattern that happens, and it's really interesting. The thing about Chris Watts that. The Chris Watts thing that really gets me, and I'm saying his name because, in the letter, all right, and I am going to just mention this, and I don't want to make this all about him, but it has a lot to do with what I'm seeing. I think he's a lot more sick than any of us. I really, so many people say, well, yes, he's a sociopath. And I actually had someone who has worked with criminal sociopaths, criminals who really like Watts, who do this. And she made a comment to me, which I thought was really powerful. She said, Tori, we do have to keep talking about it. Even those of us who are seasoned professionals, we still need to talk about this stuff because this is how we learn and grow. And I thought, wow, that's really great. Because so many people will get on and just say, oh, you need to stop talking about this. Oh, what, you're so obsessed. And I'm like, no, I'm really not. I'm empathically troubled by the way he described in the letter, because I did read one of the letters, by the way he described that he tried to, remember I said early on, no, he killed the kids in the house. I'm getting truth bumps. He did kill the kids in the house, but they weren't dead. See, this is like the sign from God, right? Like, dude, they were not dead. Don't kill them, you know? And then he finds that out just as he's killed their mother. I mean, this is in the letter. And it's all very matter of fact. Yeah, she had some bruising around her eye. And I'm like going, this man is literally like, and then he's saying, well, you know, if I get out, the therapist I'm working with told me I probably wouldn't hurt anybody else. And I'm thinking, if you get out, like, you won't make it five steps past the gate, dude. Like, seriously. Like, so I just need to say that the letter that I read shook me. And as I said, I am the book that was written is coming. But I think that the thing I want to say about this is that what disturbs me so deeply about this, and I think all of you get this, is that the book Cindy wrote, no, I'm not referring to Cindy's book. There's actually a book that a woman wrote. She is an author. It is coming out. It's on, you know, it is actually, it was published the other day, but I think it's kind of one of those small self-published things maybe, but it's called Letters from Christopher. And this is a writer who was a born again Christian who went and spoke to him at the prison. So she actually has the letters from him that because he said he didn't want to say anything aloud to her, but he would write his story because he didn't know who was listening in. So there actually is a book. I think you're right. You are correct, Sheena. It is that. And I don't have it, Clara. I can't get it. I don't know what's going on. I would love to get it because then I can really talk about it. So, you know, anyway, the point is that it was very disturbing to me, number one, that it's kind of like what happened to Judith Regan's career. She got that book called If I Did It, right? I just laugh because it's O.J. Simpson, right? If I Did It. But, you know, and I think we're at a very tough time because, thank you. I'm glad you said that, Mary. You know, Mary just commented about something shady about this person. And I have to tell you, as a writer, I don't know if I would just put something like that out. I have to be honest with you. The only way in Earth's rotation I would do anything like that is if I had the blessing of the Rushek family. And I would certainly have them read this before. I would never, like, do you know what I mean? I would never put anything like that out. But I think there is a thirst to understand what is going on because, you know, we are seeing just how dark and sick and crazy he was. So in this one letter that I did read that they kind of put out, it's a letter where he states that he killed the girls at home, then he killed Shanann. And here's the thing, they didn't die. Now, if that isn't an attempt at divine intervention, I am sorry. Like, you know, it's like the person who gets stabbed 75 times and lives. They're not meant to die. And that's, remember I kept saying to you guys, some of the early, if you go back to, I'm getting truth bumps, some of the early things I did here, the videos, I said, I don't think those kids were meant to die. And so I feel that, you know, people were going, no, he killed them at the batteries. He actually did kill them at the batteries. But the point is that in that letter, he says that, see, he'd already tried to kill them. So they had to be kind of like, plus he said in the letter, this is the sick part, to me, well, it's all sick, but he said that they were running around the house and he got really angry because he'd made the decision that they were going to be dead. And it's kind of like, dude, this is like really, this is so much sicker than my imagination made it. I mean, and here's the thing. I got to tell you, Mary, I get that. Because Mary said, if you believe his latest rendition. Do you know what's funny? I do believe this one. And I'll tell you why I believe it. Because it is, okay, I'm going to just say it. You know, I don't like to say this word, but I'm going to say it is so justifying, and there's a hint in the writing, and as a writer I can feel rhythm. That's another thing. When you study, and some of you study literature, there's a rhythm to it. I do agree, Emily, that he has nothing to lose, but there's also the thing of he really does think he's going to get out. There is that delusion in him. You could see it, but also the way he tells the story now is just as if he's saying, and then I went and I got a chocolate bar from the fridge, and then I tried to strangle the girls, smother them. That's why the coroner said they were smothered, because I smothered them, but they didn't die. And then they came in. It was really made me angry after he had taken care of his wife, and he was wrapping her, and he said, yeah, it really made me angry that they were running around. And I'm going, oh my gosh. And the thing is, that when he took them, this is the part that when he wrote this, and here's the thing, everybody, I do a lot of work, as you know, I do spiritual work, and I do a lot of writing. And when I write, a lot of times I don't have it with me, but I write my books on notepads, because I really believe that the truth comes through you when you write in longhand, because there is that thing of like, and it's just me, sometimes I'll write things in but I was just, oh yeah, Emily. I just write things out, and as I write them out, all of a sudden it's like something comes through me that's just pure truth. And so I really believe that in him writing that, it was really, and I really believe, and this is truth bumps, guys, I really believe that God was saving those children. He was trying to give, and this is the thing. Watts says it in his things. He says, if I had just had some kind of sign, and I'm thinking, they didn't die, a-hole. That's a sign. You try to kill them and they didn't die. That's like you're evil personified. So in the letter, he talks about when he got there, and he hated, he was so angry at Shanann and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to get into that. But one of the things that really got me was that and by the way, it's okay. So anyway, he said when he got to there and he had taken care of Cece, he killed her. When he dropped her into the oil vat, he said that the real reason he did that was because this time he wanted to make sure they were dead. I want you to just take that in for a minute. That he strangled them and they didn't die, or smothered them, they didn't die. So then he smothers them again. But if they were alive, he wanted to make sure they were dead. See, this to me is beyond anything I've ever heard. I mean, we've never really heard anything from Scott Peterson. We've never really heard anything from some of these, annihilators. In many ways, they don't go out and go, yeah, I did this. This guy actually thinks that now that he's found God, he's just going to be, he's beyond a coward, Sonia. I agree. And I don't even, the problem is, for me, there's no vocabulary that can describe what this is. And I know some of you go, what, he's a psychopath, but he's this, you got to let it go. But you know what? It's like that therapist who was on, who posted for, I think she posted on another video, but she made a very good point. She said, listen, I've been doing this for 30 years, meaning profiling people and blah, blah, blah. And she said, I've been working with these psychopaths, sociopaths, killers, blah, blah. And she said, we never stop looking at them. We never put it to bed. Maybe it just keeps going. And I think that, let me tell you something. Evie just said something interesting. She said, and you see, Evie, you're here. I got you. Okay, we're here. She said, CW said a demon was in him, so not taking responsibility. It's beyond that. See, I think he set this whole thing up for a crazy person defense. I want you to think about that, because if he's actually certifiably insane, maybe he will get a retrial. Don't know. See, I don't know the laws in Colorado. And, some of us we can be an expert in certain states, but let me tell you something. These states have such different laws. Like murder in Texas starts at 5 years, and so does manslaughter. So it doesn't matter, right? The difference is that, I don't know. like they both have the same time. It's like they really look at each case individually as opposed to, okay, you've got this, definite. Yeah, I think Mary's just saying, I think that and you're right, Mary Swan just said, you know what? I think we're all really getting just how disturbing this case is. And I think that this is why it always felt a little unsettled to me. It always felt a little bit like something's not right here. Like I really felt, and guys, I mean, I've said to you, I'm intuitive, I'm psychic, I really am. And I kept feeling like he killed the kids in the house. And in a funny way, he did. Even though they didn't die, he terrorized and killed them there. And the actual physical act of dropping them into the batteries later was just his insurance policy in a way, which is just beyond, but you see, here's the thing. We know he planned it for weeks, but here's the funny thing. In the way he's describing it, and I really want to read this book to find out what because like I can see words and I can see what people are saying. I mean, a lot of times when I do sessions with people and I do some intuitive coaching, I can see based on what they've written, what's really going on and help them uncover what they really want. So it's kind of this thing, right? It's kind of this gift. And so what I'm feeling about him is that I feel like when I look at those words and I know that he's written them, I think I can really feel into it, which kind of scares me. And Emily said it, and I think that's a really important thing. The spirits were killed in the house, but the lives were taken in the fields. And I think that, you know what I really want to find out though, and it's still bothering me, and it's always bothered me and it always will, is that the doll that was covered, remember that? The doll that had the blanket over it, that has never really settled in my brain. And I know that, it's just something, let's see. Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think that he really feels, and I know I'm kind of projecting, and there'll always be somebody who says, oh, you don't know how he feels. It's like, well, okay, maybe I don't, but I'm going to tell you what I think he feels anyway. I really think that he feels that he was taken over. He doesn't know why. And what's really crazy, aside from everything he did, is that like he's once again making it about him. Do you see this? Do you see that it's all about him? I made the decision that was going to happen on that day. And so even though the flight was delayed, I had to keep doing it. It's all about him. And I think for me, that's what gets me the most angry. Ooh, and I'm hitting something because I'm feeling that right now. I am so angry that it's all about him. He has no idea. I'm gonna